Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be showing you how to diagnose and repair an electrical issue on your 2010 or a couple other years Chevy Impala. So, and I'll be putting those years down in the description below. First thing you want to do is read the codes, obviously. This car happened to be in reduced power mode. And had a couple other issues going on at the same time. And let me go ahead and show you what codes it was spitting out. We use a GM Tech 2. You can use any real scanner to find these codes as well, so it doesn't need to be a Tech 2. Here's your first code it was spitting out was a p0651 for a 5-volt reference 2 circuit. And a p2135 throttle position sensor 1-2 correlation. It was not working. And there's your last one is p2127 accelerator pedal position sensor 2 circuit low voltage. So that tells you a little bit right there, but really what you want to do, if you can, is bring up the wiring diagram, and this is off of all data, and you could probably get this online as well. Ignore those I put an extra zero on mistake in there. So here's your second. There's going to be a 5V1 for the first 5-volt system, and here's the second system, 5V2, and that's why it's circled, because that's where our issue was. And it shows 3. Don't be afraid of wiring diagrams. They're really not that bad to understand. So one of these is your throttle. One of these is your crank. And one of these is, I believe, one of the sensors that goes to the, I think it might be the mass airflow sensor, but I could be wrong. But oh, here it is. Throttle body, accelerator, pedal position, and crankshaft position sensor. So originally we thought it was this issue, but upon further diagnosing, we found that one sensor was being hidden in here that isn't being stated. Don't know why, but this sensor, the, let's see, let's go ahead and it's called the secondary air injection check valve. And let me go ahead and see if I can find it on here for you guys. Well, it's on this paper right here. So it was actually hidden in this diagram. I don't know why it wasn't included, but it wasn't. Other diagrams may have it. I don't know. But so this was the 4 problems it could be. And so we simply started to pull some of the sensors to see if it would run better. So you had the throttle, which is right under here. That's your throttle. And then you have, this is the secondary air injection check valve. And the crank is actually on the back side of the motor. And I'm not sure where the last one is. It might be also included in this right here. I think there's actually 2 plugs going to that. Actually, let me take off the motor cover so you guys can see what exactly I'm talking about. I know this is a super high quality diagnosis, but you know what? It's going to help somebody, hopefully. And it's going to be an interesting video because it's a very interesting issue. And I think it had to do with the part that failed. But let me go ahead and just tell you guys. So we pulled this one out. Obviously, that's not going to do much. But then we pulled this sensor out. And the car ran perfect. Still had a check engine light. Still had a problem with, well, obviously check engine light, and a little bit of issue with idling. it seemed to be. But we unplugged this, and the car ran perfectly. So we found, as we were looking through the Tech 2, this might be only be able to be seen in the Tech 2, that all 5 of these 5V2 system was not receiving the volts it was, because something was short-circuiting, and it happened to be that sensor or check valve right there. So as soon as you unplugged that, the car ran, and that was pretty much the answer to our issue. And I know I'm making it seem very simple, but trust me, this could be a very bad process. And this car was sold to me for a pretty cheap price because of this issue, and it was being worked on for over 2 months. It went to 2 different garages. They couldn't figure out the issue. Basically, all hope was lost for this car. This car was basically dead, and couldn't figure it out, and it was almost junkyard bound. I mean, this thing probably was close to being sent to the junkyard, and it's a shame that I can't imagine how many of these cars are sent to the junkyard because either this issue or some other small issue that people just don't understand these wiring diagrams and stuff. But trust me, once you get good with them and you study them, it actually becomes a very, pretty easy thing to understand, and you will be far ahead of half the mechanics out there, or at least the older ones for the most part, as far as wiring issues. So there you go, guys. So we unplugged this, and the car ran perfectly. What actually happened was that check valve originally failed on this car, and they replaced it with a cheap Chinese aftermarket part. And that one failed, of course, because why wouldn't it? It's China. And it short-circuited internally, and that was what caused the whole issue with this car. And they actually made it worse by what they did, but it really wasn't that complicated of a problem, and I think anybody could do this. Even replacing this check valve right here, they say they say to remove the cross pipe, but that you don't need to remove the cross pipe. It's literally, if the camera will focus here, those 3 bolts. So 1, 2, and 3, and then you go underneath here. You stick your arm underneath here. You got to take all this out. This is very easy. This car is very easy to take apart. Don't be scared about it. Take this apart. You just need flathead screwdriver. Take out this airbox. Very easy. Just a couple of clips. You got to take off this sport bar and unclip some other stuff. And reach your hand under there, and you'll find a almost like an exhaust hookup. And it's going to be 2 little bolts. You can look at a picture of a check valve, and you will see what I'm talking about. It goes off of that tube down there. It's almost identical to this connection, if my camera will focus here. It's almost identical to that connection. There's 1 bolt right there, and there's 1 bolt on the other side, and that goes underneath the exhaust into another connection, and it's 2 10mm nuts that come off, and basically you just pull the thing out, and that's job done as long as you can get it back in. Sometimes they can be a real pain in the butt, and you need to save the gasket if you're going to use a junkyard one like I did on this car, because these aren't too common of a failure part, I don't believe, and they're quite expensive. So I figured 20 bucks at the junkyard instead of spending 120 bucks for a brand new one, or a redone one or refurbished one, was better than was not as good as getting the junkyard part. So that is pretty much the diagnosis, and look how good this car runs now. I mean, this is there you go, perfect. And we'll just wait for those lights to turn off. You see there's no lights on the dash at all except for the seatbelt light, and obviously I don't have my seatbelt in, so that's correct. And that is pretty much a job done. It is very it seems scary at first, guys. I understand that these electrical problems can seem very difficult at the start, but trust me when I tell you that it is really not as bad as what you guys may think it is. So this car now runs perfect, and I hope you guys, hopefully I helped you with your electrical issue. If I didn't, well, now you know at least how to possibly diagnose this issue through wiring diagrams. Wiring diagrams will tell you everything that you will need to know, at least. If it's a wiring issue, like the actual wire has been broken into or anything, you will be able to test points in which they connect and where they go for a voltage and stuff like that. So really the moral of the story is learn wiring diagrams and how to check them, and always do extra research just in case, because sometimes those wire diagrams aren't 100% foolproof, and that could trick you sometimes a little bit. But once you get good at them, you'll be able to diagnose your own electrical issues or other people's electrical issues on their car or even a Chevy Impala. So there you go, guys. I hope this helped you. A little bit. So hit me up in comments down below if this helped you, and I'll get back to you, and hopefully we'll have a little conversation, and even if you have another issue, maybe I'll be able to figure it out for you. So alright, well, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and hope you learned something, and bye bye everybody.